Not only is KBO on ESPN these days, there are a bunch of KBO guys that are playing at the major league level right now. Yourself, Josh, Ruff, Brooks Raley, who else? KK Kwanghyun. He's going to be making a start. Have you? Do you stay in touch with KK or?
Yeah. We've been in communication through text a couple times. I checked in the other day. I saw that he was going to make his start, so I texted him, or kind of through his translator, and just wished him luck. And I'm excited to watch him pitch. I was excited to. It's kind of a mixed emotion. I was kind of excited to see how he was going to do in that closer role, but I'm also excited to see how he does as a starter. I know how good he is and how competitive he is, so I think he's going to be good either way. But I was definitely interested to see how he was going to be kind of closing out games.
When you first came to KBO, KBO wasn't a cool thing. It was like, what? But nowadays, not only do you have your your friends in major league level, it's on ESPN. It kind of gives you a little bit of a pride that you were part of KBO. I mean, is that safe to say?
Yeah, definitely. That's part of the why I keep in contact with you. Partly why I do these type of interviews, because the KBO was a big part of my journey. And I wouldn't trade those 4 years for anything. Like you said, when I first went over there, honestly, I didn't even know there was a KBO when I was first approached about it. When I got a card from a guy named Sean Kim, that was the first time I had ever heard of the Korean baseball organization. I knew at the time guys went to Japan.
Right.
Everybody had heard about the MPB, but at the time I had no idea that Korea even had a league. So to see where it's come from, my first year over there to where it is now is pretty cool. I'm happy that those guys are starting to get the exposure that they deserve, because there are a lot of really good players over there. And I'm happy to see that those guys are starting to get recognition for how good they are.
By the way, I talked about you quite a bit on ESPN because I really think that your success last year helped put the league on the map. I know that Eric Thames did it a year earlier than you did, and a couple of years before that, but the pitching side, I think you kind of opened the the gate. All right, your former team SK Wyverns, very tough year. In so many ways. I'm sure you've seen some highlights. What do you think is happening over there right now?
I think it's from just talking to Jamie and just seeing the small amount of highlights that I've been able to. I think it's kind of just a perfect storm. With what went on with the transition of the manager, and then have him go down the way he did, and just with the transition of the team. I think there's a lot of turnover. I think there's some guys that are getting a little older, and I think there's a lot of young guys that they're trying out. Especially once they started going down that bad path, I think they wanted to see what they have with the future generation of SK. And obviously that's just going to take some time for those guys to get used to the league and really start performing. Talking to Jamie, it's been a little bit better. I don't think that it's as panic mode as it was. Obviously, just where they are in the standings, I think they've got a pretty good idea of where they're going to finish. So I think the pressure for them has kind of been lifted a little bit, which sounds good. But I think it's just going to take some time. I think it's kind of just more of a rebuilding stage than anything.
One thing
Especially
that I know,
with Kwon Young, you lost some pretty big guys. I left, Kwon Young left, Sanchez went to Japan. So I think there's just some pieces that were big in the winning process that I think they're going to have to try to replace.
All right. So what would you say to your former teammates, SK's former mates right now, if you were to kind of talk to them, kind of give them some pep talk right now? Because I think they really need that.
If anything, just keep their heads up. Just try to come to the field every day and just work on. At this point of the season, they're pretty set on where they are. So I would say at this point of the season, just really try to focus on coming to the field every day and just trying to focus on something that day to get better. Right now, at the point of the season they're at, it's all about just trying to develop and prepare for next season at this point. But try not to take it too seriously. I know that obviously it's their job, and I know how those guys are, and I know they're very competitive. They take very big pride in their game and how they go about their business. But just try to have fun, try to enjoy it. That's what I tried to, tell Jamie the other day. Like I said, I know he's been down, and I tried to tell him, like, don't let the situation win. You guys have been through, the team's been through so much already this year. Just try to find the positives and the rest of the time that they have. Because what I've learned is, obviously with my time being there and not being there, there are things that you definitely take for granted when you're in the situation that you're in. It's really hard, and especially in our industry with stats and all about production and just doing your job, that I think a lot of it gets lost. I think a lot of the funness of the game gets lost, and I think I can speak on that because that's what happened to me last year. I forgot that it is a game and that it is fun, and at the end of the day, when baseball's over, life's going to continue, and you're still going to have such a big life to live. So that would probably be my message, is just try to find the positives and just try to enjoy being around each other and really use that family to kind of bring you up rather than bring you down.
What about the fans? The fans are in complete shock right now because SK's been a winning organization as far as I can remember, and this is something that they're not used to right now, and they miss you quite a bit. So what can you say to all the SK fans that are really having a tough time this year?
Well, first of all, I definitely miss them too. Especially not having fans in the stands this year, it definitely makes me appreciate how awesome of a fan base that they are over there. Having the silence in the stadium really makes me miss all the songs and the chants and the boomsticks that go on. So I definitely miss that atmosphere, and I miss definitely their support. And I know they're still supporting me from across the water. But I would tell them the same thing. Just hang with them. I know it looks dark right now, but I know there's definitely going to be better days, because I know the guys in that clubhouse, and I know how talented they are, and I know how good they can be. So just give them some time. Just take this season for what it is, and just try to be excited about next year.
Alright, Skip, thank you so much for your time. And I have to ask you before we talk about baseball, with everything that's going on with the Marlins, we were a little bit worried about you. How are you? How's everything? Glad to see you back on the field, but please tell us what's been like for you for the last couple of weeks.
Well, it's been very challenging, no doubt. First outbreak team as far as COVID during the season. A lot of mistruths, unfortunately, about it started when we either right before we left at Miami or got into Atlanta for our preseason games. We had one case, and then that led to cases while we were breakout. So we were quarantined for 8 full days in Philadelphia. We couldn't leave our rooms with the exception of going to a different floor to catch our meals. I was supposed to have picked up my sweet wife a week ago last Monday back in Miami, and you just got to continue to make adjustments. The biggest thing is people's health. So I've been praying for the guys that are sick and all of the sickness around the world, and hopefully we'll get healthy. And we've gotten off to a decent start. We've lost the last 3, losing tonight to the Blue Jays, but and then the last 2 games in New York City against the Mets. But hopefully we'll get back on a roll, and it's been overall a pretty good start to the season, although it's been very trying.
Talking about your former team, SK Wyverns, they're having a really difficult season. I'm sure you've heard not just the record. Manager Young is still hospitalized, tough time. I mean, what can you say to your former players and SK Wyverns fans? They're in a little bit of a shock right now because they're so used to seeing SK winning. What are your thoughts?
Still communicate quite often with Jamie Romack, and he sends messages for me, and Jew, one of the interpreters. So yes, I do stay in touch with them. I look up statistics, I look at the record. I was very, very concerned about manager Young, Kondok Nim, and I've checked on him many, many times and sent him many messages. First and foremost, we get so wrapped up in what we do in the game and wins and losses. And I wish the team was more successful. I really do. That hurts, and I know it hurts. It hurts management. It hurts ownership. It can be debilitating and demoralizing for the players. But first and foremost, the health and safety of everyone, and that comes back to Kondok Nim. I was very, very concerned about him collapsing in the dugout. As I've said, I've checked multiple times on him. I know he's doing better, and I know he's on the mends, but I'm still concerned for him because it's just like I tell my 26-year-old son. Unless you've done the job, don't pass judgment on how difficult the job is. And when baseball teams lose and you're paid to get to win, it's hard. It's very, very hard. So the stress, obviously, and the strain can take a toll on your body. I know he cares as much as anybody I've ever been around, and I just hope for his health first and foremost. And from a team standpoint, my encouragement would be, hey, refresh your mind every day and look forward to being able to do something positive for your team every day. Try to have as much energy as you can. You know, you're blessed to get to play baseball. I remember challenging the team a few times when I was over there. I said, hey, what if this was your last day to wear a baseball uniform? How would you want to be remembered? So that's what I would encourage the SK guys for. I know that they're next to the last place. I know the last 10 games have not been good. I know the record is not good. I know the hopes for playoff is dwindling and it doesn't look good. But at the end of the day, you're very blessed to get to do what you do. So make the most of every day because you never know when that last day in uniform is going to be taken from you.
What about the fans? You know, they're in a utter shock right now. Like I said before, they're so used to winning. SK Wyverns have been a winning organization, and this came as a hold on a second.
Attention.
That was on my end.
Emergency reported in the building. Please evacuate immediately to the nearest
Oh,
emergency
they're
exit.
telling us to evacuate our rooms.
Okay.
Just please keep the faith. You know, it's very frustrating to see a team that you're cheering for and so loyal to that's not having success. But just keep the faith that things will continue to get better. And you know, if you need to look to the 2021 season, then do that. But also keep hope that you can continue to see improvement from some of the younger players that are continuing to develop at the major league level there in the KBO. Because that's all part of the process, and that's part of where SK is right now. You know, they've got younger players in the mix, you've got some older players, and you know, you got to continue to build for the future. So look forward to the future, not only 2021, but the future of this year, and looking forward to the improvement for some of the younger players and the veteran players as well.
Well, Skip, thank you so much for your time. It was really good to see you. The fans here miss you. We wish nothing but the best to you, to the team, and for your family as well. One last word for all the Korean fans, not just SK Wyverns, but all baseball fans in Korea. What can you say to them?
KBO fans, I miss you. I miss you very much. Thank you so much for all your support for me when I was there with SK. And I wish you all health and happiness. And I hope your families are all well. And just keep supporting the KBO.